channel. I'm back to break down this Game 1 MLB World Series Showdown slate on Draftkings and Fanduel. Excited to get into it. World Series baseball, always going to be exciting, and on these Showdown slates, of course, a little bit of a different format. We're going to get into the top plays, really dig into it. As I always say throughout the MLB season, although it's not the biggest slate, there's always an edge to be had. We can really dig into the data and be really specific, especially since there's only one game here. Really dig in, give you every single aspect here. That's what we do on the channel, give you the winning plays that you need to get in that money. If you're new to the channel and you do enjoy this content, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. And I do offer an MLB DFS premium package. I know the MLB season is winding down, but I also do cover NBA and NFL. And I also just released an all sports package. So that's linked below in the description. Check that out if you're getting really serious about DFS, NFL DFS, NBA DFS. You really wanted to win some money, I would highly recommend that. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this Game 1 World Series slate. So, as always, let's go ahead and start my sheet by K rate. Only 2 pitchers on the slate, but the top guy on the slate in K rate, it's Fantasy Sports. We get points for strikeouts, is going to be Mr. Charlie Morton. He comes in with a 28.6% K overall with a 12.4 swinging strike rate, 47.8% ground ball rate, 28.9% fly ball rate, 28.8% hard contact rate, 322 slugging to righties, a 295 slugging to lefties, and has been very, very good across the board. Really doesn't have much weakness. If anything, the slugging against righties has been his biggest weakness on the season, although he does give up more hard contact to lefties. So nothing too crazy to be targeting with Charlie Morton from a splits aspect. And then his opponent in Framber Valdez, taking on this Atlanta Braves team, comes in with a 21.9% K overall with a 10.2 swing strike rate. He really doesn't strike many people out, but his strong suit is the ground ball. Does a tremendous job of keeping the ball on the ground with a 70.3% ground ball rate, 14.9% fly ball rate, 31.2% hard contact rate. He does have a bit of a walk issue, only a 20.8% carry to those righties. Same thing with the walk issue, and then against lefties, it's a walk issue. Does ramp it up in the strikeout category, but he has been giving up actually a little bit more slugging and WOBA to those lefties with a 363 slugging to lefties and a 320 WOBA to lefties, which could be a little bit of a sneaky play. If there's any lefties that crack the lineup, that lefty-lefty play could get you to the top of the leaderboards at low ownership. So that's something definitely to note. Taking a quick look at both of these teams' expected lineups, you can see on the Braves side, as far as the lefties, it'll probably be Freddie Freeman, Eddie Rosario in there, as well as Jock Peterson. So if they crack the lineup, I think that they could be good contrarian plays here, and that would be my approach. Over on Draftkings, where you have to play the captain spot with a guy like Charlie Morton, Framber Valdez, it's tough to say because obviously I think Charlie Morton can go out there and have a great game, but when he's priced all the way up, it's depending upon how these bats do. As far as the Vegas lines are concerned, the Houston Astros have a 4.51 implied run total. The Atlanta Braves have a 3.99 implied run total. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was bullpens. As far as the bullpen data in this game, looking at both of these teams, go ahead and sort my sheet by hard contact rate here, figure out the top bullpens throughout the season, and we can see there's a clear discrepancy as far as bullpens are concerned in this matchup. The Houston Astros definitely have a big advantage as far as their bullpen's concerned. Atlanta's bullpen really hasn't been the greatest all season long. You can see here, not grading out the greatest on my sheet. As far as hard contact rate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th, I believe, or 9th worst in the league. And then as far as Houston, you go all the way down here. They're grading out a lot better. They look a lot better as far as their bullpen's concerned. So that's something to take note of as well. Houston definitely going to have an easier matchup once we get into that bullpen. And as far as ballpark's concerned, this game's going to be played in Houston. As always, let's go ahead and pull up the diagram here as far as ballparks, figure out the top spots we can target in this particular ballpark for you guys. Minute Maid Park down the left field line is really where it's at. Short left field porch, those right-handed hitters that can really pull the ball definitely are going to be, at an advantage here playing at Minute Maid Park. And then down the right field line isn't too terrible to the guys that can hit the ball, real far. So not all too concerned about the dynamics of this ballpark outside of the fact, like I said, I do think you can be a little bit excited about playing maybe some righties that have pull tendencies because of that left field line. So keep that in mind. And lastly, looking at some pitching data stuff here, As far as how these guys are going to grade out in this matchup, looking at Mr. Charlie Morton and what he goes to against these Houston hitters, on average, you're looking at about a 94, 95 mile-an-hour fastball. He'll also break out the sinker, and he really likes that Uncle Charlie curveball. So it's fastball, curveball for Charlie Morton. And as far as the guys that grade out the best against that in this Houston Astros lineup, as far as the fastball, that 94, 95 mile-an-hour fastball, at the top of the lineup, Jose Altuve, Michael Brantley really do hit that pitch pretty well. So those two guys would be the ones I'm starting out with here in my lineups as far as how they break off that fastball. And then further ado, Carlos Correa and Kyle Tucker. So Jose Altuve, Michael Brantley, and Kyle Tucker really grade out well against this fastball. So they're the ones that are really catching my eye early on here. And then as far as from a total, which overall matchup, as far as guys that do hit well against the fastball and the curveball, we're looking to, let's see here, as far as the curveball is concerned, Michael Brantley once again. And that's really it, to be honest with you. Alex Bregman hits the curveball very well. Doesn't grade out quite as well against that fastball, but he hits the curveball very well, so that's something to take note of. Moving over to the Houston side and Framber Valdez and seeing what he throws here against this Atlanta Braves team and how they stack up. He's really relying on the sinker, as mentioned, with that ground ball rate. I mean, that's just a classic sinker ball thrower. 70.3% ground ball rate, that's what he does. He doesn't exactly have the most dominant strikeout stuff, but he gets the ball on the ground. And he's a left-handed sinker hurler, and then his secondary pitch is also the curveball. So against the sinker on this Atlanta Braves team, they hit it pretty well, honestly. I'm looking Jorge Soler, Freddie Freeman, Austin Riley, Adam Duvall, like all of them, and they do rake lefties very well here. As far as my splits leaderboard, hot hitter, StatCast data tool, all that stuff, top hitters in the league against lefties this year. Scrolling down this list, as far as the guys on the Braves, Ozzie Albies pops off the chart right away with a 262 ISO with a 393 WOBA against lefties, so I'm definitely going to be intrigued to be playing some of him in this spot. Further ado, as far as any other Braves are concerned, going down this list, I mean, we definitely know that these guys can rake lefties regardless, even if they're not on the top on the year, I'll tell you that much, because when we're looking at this lineup, Adam Duvall, another guy that I'm definitely going to have a lot of interest in here. You can see on the season, he had a 178 ISO. Not exactly the greatest performance for him in comparison to previous years, but I'm still going to have interest in him. And then as far as anyone else in this lineup that fares well against lefties, you know, it's Ozzie Albies, it's Austin Riley, Jorge Soler at the top of the lineup, absolute great play. Dansby Swanson. But Adam Duvall, Albies, Soler really stand out to me from a splits aspect, so I like those guys. And then, like I said, Soler and Adam Duvall really hit that sinker very well, so I like both those guys a lot here. And then as far as anyone else deeper in this lineup, well, first of all, I want to talk about the curveball as well, because that's his secondary pitch, of course. Freddie Freeman, lefty on lefty, really smashes that. Austin Riley really hits it well, and Adam Duvall once again, and then Dansby Swanson. So we talked about the lefty-on-lefty matchup here, and Freddie Freeman really rakes that curveball, left-handed pitching. So I think that could be interesting. Maybe he's lower owned than he should be because it's lefty-on-lefty. He could really take advantage there. It's kind of tough saying. It's only a one-game slate, and Freddie Freeman's a really good hitter, so I don't think he's going to be that low owned, but in retrospect to what he should be, he could be. So something to keep in mind there. In this one. So let's do a quick little lineup build here on Draftkings, and then we'll do one on Fanduel. As far as the captain's spot, you're really going to need the top scoring guy. Like I said, these pitchers, I mean, it's kind of hard for them not to be the top scoring guy, but not exactly the top strikeout matchup for Charlie Morton. The Houston Astros really don't strike out a lot whatsoever. That's something I wanted to touch on as well. Looking at their strikeout rate here against right-handed pitching, you can see Houston's second best in the league on the season with only a 20% K rate against those righties. So Charlie Morton really going to get a difficult matchup. And then as far as the Braves against lefties are concerned and their K rate overall, they don't strike out the most against lefties either. The 22.1% K rate overall. So, I mean, obviously it's the World Series. This is the best of the best. But just something to keep note of there. I mean, Charlie Morton could get a bunch of strikeouts. Something's got to give in this matchup. But do I think that you could play a lineup that's not exactly so heavily correlated on the pitcher? Yes. And so let's go ahead and roster some guys that we like here. In the captain spot, let's go ahead and just go with Jorge Soler. We talked about liking him against the sinker baller and the lefty, and then we talked about that short left field porch in Minute Maid Park. So we'll go ahead and put him in our lineups first here, and then fill it out with the rest. Freddie Freeman, lefty on lefty, we talked about possibly being sneaky. Yordan Alvarez, actually surprisingly, really doesn't grade out that well against Charlie Morton. So we talked about kind of some of the guys that do. Kyle Tucker we really liked. Carlos Correa, once again, another righty that can pull the ball down the line. We liked him and how he graded out. Adam Duvall we talked about. Michael Brantley grades out really well, and he's really cheap on DraftKings here, so I think he could be a great salary relief option. And then we talked about the lefty on lefty in Eddie Rosario, possibly cracking this lineup. So there's a quick little build that could possibly be, one you're looking to. That one doesn't have a pitcher in it, so that's a little bit risky. You really need the pitchers to not really do that great if you're going to go with that build. But there's an example. And then over on Fanduel, there is no pitching, so it's a lot easier. We're really just looking for the highest scoring guy in our MVP slot, the second highest scoring guy in our star slot, and the 3 highest scoring following those guys in our utility. So, it's not rocket science over here. So let's go ahead and go with that same build as far as Soler and the MVP. We're just really high on him. We just think he's going to crush here. So we'll go with him there. And I'm not saying that's necessarily where I'm standing. Like, he's one of the guys that grades out very well in this matchup. So, am I saying that I'm locking in Soler? No, but in this particular case, I'm walking you through a lineup build mindset. And don't get me wrong, I have no issues with you putting Soler in your MVP slot. I think it's a great play. We went over it, but I'm just saying you don't have to necessarily play him in your MVP slot. 100% can, though. Carlos Correa, we'll put in our star slot. We really liked him. We liked Kyle Tucker. We liked Jose Altuve. That leaves us with 4-5. I'm not really sure if we can fit anyone in there. As far as 4-5 is concerned, maybe a Martin Maldonado at the bottom of this lineup. I don't hate that because that's a way to get different, actually. People don't like playing catchers in their lineups, and they don't like playing people at the bottom of the lineup. So that's another thing I want to talk about in the showdown slate. Feel free to play guys at the bottom of the lineup. They're not going to get near the ownership. They can hit a home run, and you can go to the top of the leaderboard. It's only one game, guys. So if you're really trying to win that $50,000 prize on FanDuel, the $100,000 prize on DraftKings, you're going to have to get different. Playing guys at the bottom of the lineup is a great way to do so. So that is all for me in this World Series Game 1 showdown slate. Before I let you guys go, though, got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Adam Duvall taking on Framber Valdez, a guy that absolutely mashes left-handed pitching and a guy whose weakness really only comes down to strikeouts. And guess what? He gets to take on a left-handed hurler that doesn't really strike anyone out in Framber Valdez with only a 20% K rate overall, 31% hard contact rate, and a 321 slugging given up to right-handed hitting here. It's the World Series. It's not exactly the worst pitcher in the world. That's what we're dealing with, the best of the best. But when you're breaking down what Framber Valdez goes to in his repertoire, we talked about it. The sinker curveball combination, and Adam Duvall crushes both of those pitches. Against the sinker, Adam Duvall has a 538 ISO, 66.67 hard contact percentage with a 557 WOBA. And then as far as the curveball, no worries either because he has a 421 ISO with a 377 WOBA. This game is being played in Minute Maid Park. We talked about it in Houston down that short left field line. Think Adam Duvall can take advantage. Get him in your lineups because he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Adam Duvall, get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. Wish you guys all the best of luck in this Game 1 World Series Showdown slate, and we will see you in the next one.